Hey babes, welcome back. Today I am sharing some of the things that have helped me the most when it comes to my nervous system and nervous system regulation and just being able to feel more at ease and more at peace in my body and have less stress. Now, you probably have been hearing a lot about nervous system regulation, or maybe it's just me. Maybe that's just in my algorithm because of the things that I share here. But when I am scrolling through and I am seeing videos talk about nervous system regulation, one of the things that I'm noticing is that a lot of these videos are focused on more so techniques that are about temporarily down regulating your nervous system. And while that can be helpful in certain situations or in temporary situations, we really want to get to a place where we can, first of all, not be so easily triggered, not have so much nervous system upset in the first place, and just feel more at ease on a more constant basis. So, the things that I'm going to share today are going to be helpful for that. And if that's something that you want to learn more about, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you like this video so other people can find it. And if you are new around here, I'm Shantae. And I share my journey with fibroids and I share my wellness journey. And of course, being that I talk a lot about my wellness journey, I talk about fibroids. One of the biggest contributors to fibroids is your stress and even some nervous system dysregulation, which can lead to other things like poor digestion and your inability to be able to absorb nutrients that you need, spiked cortisol and estrogen levels. And so, this is something that I feel like is going to be a really important part of your journey if you are someone that is dealing with hormone issues. I want to give you some practical things that can really help you, that can really make a huge difference. And I think a lot of these you can even start implementing right away. You can start implementing today. So let's get right into it. And I got my notes because I like to have me some notes so I don't forget. The first thing that I am going to say is going to probably be the most practical part of this, but it's also probably going to be the most difficult. So I'm just going to hit you with the hard thing first, or what I feel like has been the harder thing for me. And that is that I want you to work on your organization skills. I want you to work on having a more organized life. Now, I say this as somebody who is transitioning from a type A plus plus personality to more so of like, I think I'm at like a B plus. I would consider myself somewhere around A minus B plus at this point. But one of the things that I noticed that cut the most stress out for me and cut the most just that frazzled feeling is just being more organized. And I know that this is easier said than done, but a few things that I want to point out in particular about being organized is that it's not just about having things be color coordinated, having things be in a certain place. It's really about preventing friction or preventing choke points throughout your day. So, some simple things that you can do as far as that's concerned is putting out your clothes that you're going to wear the next day, before deciding what you're going to eat tomorrow, the day before. If you can do some sort of meal prep, I actually just started prepping all my son's snacks. I literally just did this yesterday because I realized that it's one thing that I have to think about in the morning. So instead of me having to think about this thing and then maybe it taking a little bit longer and then now we're rushing out of the door in the morning, and so now I'm all frazzled because I didn't make this simple decision ahead of time. that is something that has been really big for me, is just kind of taking some of these seemingly small things and taking the friction out of my day. Another thing that I want to encourage you to do, if you are someone who struggles with your time management, improving your time management will do wonders for your nervous system. And if you guys want me to go more in detail about this or anything else that I mentioned, make sure you drop it in the comments. Let me know if there's something you want me to elaborate on in a whole nother video. But your time management is going to be another thing that really helps. So when I'm going somewhere, especially if I'm going somewhere new or going somewhere for the first time, I'm leaving home super early. First of all, I live in a major city. The odds of there being an accident or traffic, on my way to a place is going to be really high. And so what ends up happening is you leave with just barely enough time to get where you're going, or you leave and you map it out and you're going to be 5 minutes late. And then you get stopped by traffic, or you get stopped by every single light on your way there. And now you're frazzled, you're anxious, your body is in an uproar, you're finding it hard to relax. And so time management is going to be a big part of reducing some of your stress, keeping that nervous system under control, because that's something that we actually can control. It's our time management and how we're scheduling things, when we're leaving to get to the next thing. All of that is going to be important for setting yourself up for situations where you are not sending your nervous system into, an uproar. The next thing that I do that I think has been tremendous for my mental health and, my nervous system is going for outdoor walks specifically. So walking is great. Y'all know I love walking. I probably find a way to bring up walking in almost every video. And that's just because it is just a superior form of exercise to me. But walking outside specifically has been super helpful for me. So when I go for my walks outdoors, I don't take my phone, or I'll take my phone, but I'll have my phone on silent. I'm not on my phone. I'm not working. I'm just there with my own thoughts. And so something else that I've done to kind of improve my walks or get even more benefit out of my walks is learning how to be more present while I am on the walk. And I do that by paying attention to nature. So I will listen to the birds chirp. I will look at and even touch certain plants or flowers when I'm out walking. I will notice how green the grass is. I will notice how the sky looks. And what this does is it forces you to learn to be present. And what that's going to do is help you whenever you get into harder situations. So throughout some of these, you'll probably see a theme of where we are working on something or working to train our mind to do a certain thing when we're not in a serious situation. And then so that by the time we're in these situations, we can respond better or respond in a way that works better for us. And so walking and specifically being more aware of your environment and being more aware of nature is a great way to train your body and train your mind to be more present. Another thing that I like to do, or that I have really just started being really good about, is thinking before I respond. And I know you probably grew up with a parent or an elder or something telling you to think before you speak, think before you respond, but it really is a valuable piece of advice. And I want you to practice doing that with very small things. So when someone asks you, what do you want to eat for dinner today, right? Instead of responding, instead of being annoyed because, your partner didn't just come up with it for you, I want you to just take a moment and think. Think about what you actually want. Think about what you actually need. Some other examples of this are some other small things that you can stop and think about is when someone asks me to go somewhere or go on an outing or whatever, I always stop and think. I take a pause, not just to think, but to feel that request in my body. So I will, if someone asks me to, I don't know, go to a Pilates class or something with them, as soon as they ask me, I pay attention to what that request feels like in my body. So if it just feels like a no, if it's like, because sometimes our bodies will literally tell us the answer before our brains do. Our bodies will tell us yes or no. So if my body just responds, it's just a no, or I'm not excited about it, or whatever, I'm probably gonna say no. 9.5 times out of 10, I'm gonna say no. But if someone asks me to do something and my immediate in my body reaction is a yes, that allows me to, whenever I am engaging with this person or engaging in this activity, I can actually feel better. I actually tend to feel better. I feel good when I'm going into these interactions. And again, my nervous system is not in an uproar because I am choosing something that my body doesn't want, or I'm choosing something that's not in alignment with me. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that towards the end of this. Now, the next thing is kind of a little bit tricky because it almost feels like an abstract concept because you're going to have to quantify the speed that you move. So one thing that I have noticed is that at one point I felt like I was just constantly rushing. Like I'm rushing to wash the dishes, and then I'm rushing to cook, and then I'm rushing to go do this other thing, and and it's just like I'm rushing from place to place, thing to thing. And so what I want to encourage you to do is start cutting I call it a default speed. It's just the speed at which you do things. So maybe you walk around really quickly. Now that I've said this, you'll probably start to pay a lot more attention to it, but maybe you walk around really quickly, or you're like me, you just rushing to do the thing. You got a list and you're just going from thing to thing on that list. I want you to try to cut that in half. If you can't cut it in half, give me at least 25%. Cut your speed down. Start being more mindful of the speed at which you are doing things. Because a lot of us are actually stressing ourselves out. We're actually like putting our body in that fight or flight just because of the speed that we're doing things. And what I found is that I have convinced myself of an urgency, right? I had convinced myself that washing the dishes was an urgent thing. I had convinced myself that I have to get all of these things done. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but I would also suggest that if you're somebody that finds yourself rushing from thing to thing like that, maybe explore your relationship with worthiness, with productivity and worthiness. Some people feel like they have to earn their worthiness through productivity or earn their rest through productivity. And that's something that I had to work through with myself. And that's one of the things that had me constantly rushing through everything. I found myself constantly annoyed because nobody else is moving at the speed that I'm moving at. Like I'm moving at 10x speed. Nobody else is moving that fast. And now I'm even more annoyed, because everybody else is not moving as fast as I'm moving. So that's something that I really, really want you to start paying attention to, is the speed or the rate at which you're doing things. Even if it's just walking, even if it's just washing the dishes, folding up clothes or whatever, pay attention to how fast or how quickly you're moving. Another thing that is really helpful is staying well nourished. This is going to be helpful from a physical perspective because sometimes your nervous system issues are being caused by you being malnourished. Maybe you not eating enough getting enough B vitamins in your diet. Maybe you are not getting enough protein and fiber and fat and carbohydrates. So maybe you are feeling, maybe your body is weak, it's undernourished or it's malnourished. So now you don't even have the energy. Now you're physically depleted. And so now you don't even have the energy to do all the things you need to do. And your body does not have the energy that it needs to function properly. So focus on making sure that you are getting enough of your macronutrients every day, your proteins, fiber, fat, did I miss one? And your carbohydrates. Make sure, and I know that a lot of y'all are on these low carb diets, but I want you to do some research around carbs and your brain health and why we actually need carbs. So if you on a low carb diet and you find yourself constantly stressed, constantly frazzled, you might need to reconsider that. Now, the next thing is going to take a little bit of work, but it is super helpful, is living in alignment. And what I mean by that is, first of all, before you can even live in alignment, you got to figure out what you're living in alignment with, right? So for me, my North Star is Christianity, is my relationship with God. And then I also have these other visions and goals that I want to achieve, right? So everything that I am making decisions about, I'm making decisions through that lens. It's being filtered through that. So in order for you to be able to even begin to live in alignment, you have to have a North Star. You have to have something that is governing you, and you have to also have your own set of vision and goals. Once you do that, you'll be able to make decisions that are more closely aligned with your beliefs and your vision for your life and your goal. And so things will start to feel easier for you. They'll start to feel somewhat easier for you because now you are headed in the direction that you're supposed to be headed. You'll start to notice less friction in your life because now you're making those decisions towards where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to be going. So that takes work, that takes time, but I do think it is an important thing when we are talking about nervous system regulation and really making permanent changes that are permanent or long-term for us when it comes to our nervous systems. The other thing that I want y'all to do is invest in your mental health. Invest in a therapist. If you can't afford a therapist, invest in some books that are written by licensed therapists or psychiatrists or psychologists. Invest in your mental health and your personal health. And like I said, preferably with a therapist or counselor or licensed counselor. So that way you can have someone to help you recognize patterns and help you be able to undo those things so that you are not constantly living in negative loops. Now, this other one, it's not for everybody. But once I started working on my connection with God, that really changed things for me too. It helped me to have more faith. Like really by studying my religion, it helped me to have more faith. And it helped put me more at ease about some of the negative things that I might have been experiencing or the negative things that I'm seeing around me. My faith in God has really, I would say that is a big nervous system regulation. And the other part of that too is, even if you don't believe in God, even if you don't believe in Jesus, all that, I still highly recommend, I highly suggest that you read about Jesus and his responses to things. Like, there is actually a lot of profound information. There's a lot of there's just a lot being modeled there when you actually read about Jesus and his response to situations and things that he was experiencing. Now, the last thing that I want us to do, myself included, is get off the phone. I like the scrolling, the playing games on your phone. Like, we gotta cut that. We gotta cut that. And I know, and it's hard if you're like me and some of what you do is online, or a lot of what I do. Most of what I do is online. I have to have parameters. So I do have timers on my social media apps. I have this thing too set on my apps where it shows me. So say I've been on for like 15 minutes, it'll show me it'll flash like 15 minutes at the top. And I do find that helpful, because if that thing gets up to like 45 minutes, I'm like, oh, okay, let me get off of here. Because just the thought of spending an hour in an app is, aside from YouTube, because I do watch YouTube, spending that much time just scrolling through an app, consuming, not necessarily working, because I'm not going to say that I'm always just on there working. That can be really helpful, is using those timers, because once you actually see how much your time you're spending, it will be jarring for you. When I realized how much time I was spending on my phone at one point, it was extremely jarring for me. And it kind of made me reevaluate my time management, because I'm like, I be saying I don't have time for stuff, but I'm scrolling my phone or playing a game on my phone or whatever. I actually deleted the games that I was playing off my phone, because I don't have time for that in this season of life. But put the phone down, reduce your phone usage, especially if you are consuming like a lot of news content. Limit that. In fact, I personally hit not interested on certain types of content that I know is going to be upsetting for me. And that's really important if you are a person who feels deeply and empathizes a lot with what's going on with people. So for me personally, I cannot watch a lot of like news videos and headlines and stuff like that. I cannot consume a lot of that. It will keep me up at night. It will make me cry, and I can't cry every day. So be very mindful about your screen time and how you're using your phone, because it definitely makes a difference in how your nervous system is functioning and that frazzled feeling that we tend to get. So one thing that I am going to try is, whenever I have the urge to pick up my phone, instead of picking up my phone, I'm either going to go outside or look out of the window. So that's a tactic that I'm trying out. I'm going to let y'all know how that goes and if it works really well for me. If I forget to tell y'all how it's working, ask me in like 2 videos from now. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this video super helpful. I hope that it can help you make some positive changes. I hope that we can have more at ease year despite everything that's going on. I really hope that everybody can find some ease and peace this year. So thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Share this video with someone that might need some help with this. And I will see you guys in this next video.